What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_Access. Joined alongside Jacob in Wisconsin on this glorious September the 13th. We got a full slate of college football kicking off today. We all get to kind of kick back as Packer fans and watch the NFL Week 2 unfold tomorrow, knowing that the Packers are sitting at 2-0, man. It's just a glorious time here in the greatest country on the planet. We're going to dive into some really, really cool conversation this morning. I'm really excited about it. We're going to talk about Jordan Love and his hot start. Guys, is this the year? Is this the year that the Packers actually make it to the Super Bowl? You know, everything, the stars are kind of aligning. The team seems like they're unified. I'm really, really excited to dive into it all, and specifically how Jordan Love is going to be the key catalyst for the Packers getting there. Maybe not in the direction that you think he would be, throwing up just ungodly numbers, but just being that quarterback that controls the football, protects the football, and keeps them in every game throughout the season. We're also going to talk, I don't mean to giggle, but we're going to talk about our boy Skip Bayless a little bit, Jacob. This is going to be fun, man. Skip Bayless, if you guys remember, he was just good riddance to Micah. Oh, Micah, he's overrated. He's this, he's that. He seems to have changed his tune a little bit. We're going to talk about that. So we'll get into both of those topics, and obviously hanging out here in the chat. I see everybody in here. Appreciate y'all making us a part of your Saturday morning. If you would, let's do that YouTube stuff. Hit that like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your morning festivities. Listen, we're not experts here. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We are fans just like you, talking Packers on the daily, breaking down the tape, doing pregame shows, postgame shows, in-depth analysis, contract information, anything you need geared around the Green Bay Packers. You can get that info here on the daily. So if you're looking for that type of content, make sure you hit subscribe, click that bell icon so you're notified every time we do go live. I see we got Brambo in the chat. Everybody sit up straight. Brambo's in the house. All right, let's act like we got some sense today. Jacob, how you doing, bub?
Man, I am doing all right. Like you said, it's a weird weekend where you don't have the Packers football, but obviously you got some college football going on today. I woke up way too early, went out and did some work, and just happened to be blessed to have a 9 a.m. start for a Packers podcast. We were a little late today. All right, chat, take it easy. You know, sit your butt outside. Sometimes it happens. All right.
Exactly. Oh yeah, it's gonna be fun though, man, for sure. And listen, if the voice is a little weaker than it, I mean, my voice is always weak. I got the weakest voice on the face of the planet. But if it sounds weaker than normal, Bristol was wild last night, so we had a good time out there at the races, and still trying to recover a little bit from that. I showed up over there at the rooftop where we were at, inside the infield of the track, Jacob. And I looked at the menu, and they said cherry lime moonshine. I went,
do you remember you sent us a text in the group chat?
I said it's gonna be a long day out here, but well.
He goes, hey, they got cherry lime moonshine, and it just said, take my money, and he rattled out like 6 freaking gifts or whatever of just him tossing out dollars. That's the last I heard from Clayton that day.
Yeah, exactly. Andy Watkins says, Clayton, your voice is 25%. Why I tune in? LOL. Yeah, that way. Yeah. Thanks, Andy. Appreciate it, buddy. All right, let's do it, man. Let's get into it. Let's talk a little Jordan Love. Listen, Jacob, you watch week 1, right? And you think, what was it, 188 yards passing? And there's people look at that stat line and go, that's not a franchise quarterback. 2 touchdowns, no picks. It's absolutely huge, man. It's absolutely huge. Just play the game that's in front of you. You know, if you've got a big lead, don't try to do too much. Just make sure you get out of there with the dub. That's what championship teams do. So we're going to go through a series of statistics, some advanced metrics, things like that on Jordan Love's season so far. The 33rd team put a tweet out. It says Jordan Love's season is off to a fantastic start. 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, 66% completion rate, 9.1. I repeat, 9.1 yards per attempt, 0.30 EPA per dropback, and a 120.0 passer rating. The big thing here, Jacob, 66% completion rate. Some people see that and they think that's bad. Aaron Rodgers, guys, his career completion percentage rate, and I think we would all agree he was one of, if not the most efficient quarterbacks in the history of the game. His completion percentage career-wise, 65%. So Jordan Love,
65%.
65%. That's what we. Thank you, Mark. So far this season is 1% higher than Aaron Rodgers' career completion percentage. Again, I just wanted to point that out. What do you think about these stats? And what we got, like I said, we got several of these keyed up, some with, passing beyond the sticks. We got others with pressure in his face, all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's a weird situation where I feel like Love is in because he's not what you would call just a game manager, right? Like a guy that comes in and just doesn't have to mess up, and you can get a win from just not doing anything wrong. And I wouldn't say that necessarily he's a game changer, where it's like he's going out there throwing for 4 tugs a game, 350 yards, running for 100 yards. I think he's somewhere in the middle of that, which is just a franchise quarterback. You know what I mean? Where he comes in, he does what he needs to do. He doesn't, like you said, I think he's been smart learning behind Aaron, obviously, this whole time, and even just having more real game experience where he understands, I don't need to put this team on my back with every throw. I don't need to throw it into the triple coverage every single time. Like, and don't get me wrong, he's still going to do that. He's got that gunslinger mentality in him a little bit, but I think he's maturing in his game to the point where he understands he has to just make the plays that he needs to make. He doesn't have to overexert himself. When there's a gap there to make a run, make the run. If there's an open pass, make the pass. If you can out of something to a better play, make that play. Don't feel like that you, specifically Jordan Love, has to take the game on his shoulders. And I think that this year is a little bit unique as to others, where he has so many other weapons that he can lean on. I mean, we've talked about it so many times. The wide receiver room is just deep. The tight end group, the running back group, the even down to the O-line that doesn't force him to actually have to use his legs unless it's in a unique situation. I think that he's kind of taken all that in and understood that he is just a guy that needs to lead the team. And he's doing that, I believe, in those stats, they don't pop off the screen necessarily. You know what I mean? They're not Hall of Fame game-breaking records, but what they are is damn good. And if you keep that going, the MVP, the most valuable player, like, it's not necessarily the most valued statistics. I mean, usually that's what it comes down to. But in my eyes, the MVP literally is the guy that if we lose this dude, the team is screwed, right? And I feel like that right now, as much support I have from Malik Willis, and I really do believe that if God forbid something happened to Love, that he could probably try to make some salvage of the season. Jordan Love is the heart and soul of this football team right now, and I'm just glad that he's looking pretty good, man.
Yeah, Rob Domofsky had a soundbite the other day where he said that I think he talked to Matt LaFleur, and Matt LaFleur had told him a story from training camp, and he said that when they got through with training camp, I'm pretty sure it was training camp practice at some point this year, and he walked up, told everybody, here's what we did on the day, here was the stats, blah, 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 kind of rattled off, here's a quick review of what we just did before they break. And he said normally he rattles those off, and then Matt LaFleur will go take them into the huddle, or they'll tell somebody, hey, break us down, right? That type of thing. He said he just stepped back because he wanted to see what would happen, right? Let's see who takes charge. He said he stepped back. It was a brief second, and Jordan Love walked right into the middle to break them down. Like, he took that ownership of that team. And I'm telling you, man, this team absolutely adores Jordan Love. You listen to his teammates talk about him, and I think it is a testament to the way Aaron helped him along as well. Aaron was that awesome teammate to Jordan, taught him how to be a leader, and that's not my words. That's Jordan Love's take on it. He said it over and over and over. Matter of fact, he said it again the other day in an interview with the media. I want to say it was Kirk Herbstreit on the McAfee show was talking about that when they met with Jordan Love. He was talking about, once again, how valuable it was to have Aaron and how he was just such a good friend to him and a leader and a mentor and all that. So pretty darn cool. So here's some other stats. PFF tweeted this out. Jordan Love when targeting past the sticks this season. All right, guys. So again, forget the dink and dunk. This is going beyond the sticks, right? You're throwing the pass beyond the sticks. 93.9 passing grade. 66.7% adjusted completion percentage. All right. So that's removing the drops, things like that, of course. 358 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. He is big game hunting when it makes sense, when he's asked to do that. Right. Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing about Matt LaFleur's offense is baked in to just about every play is a shot play there. One of the more aggressive play calls that I seen on Sunday was the switch concept. I know it'll make Chalk Talk, and we'll probably get the Chalk Talk either tomorrow or Monday. We'll do Chalk Talk from that game. But It's a switch concept where they had Tucker Craft, where he hit Tucker Craft on the, what was it, 54-yard gain or whatever it was. And that was one of those play calls. Is like, boy, there might have been one check down there, but you could tell this was Matt LaFleur going, all right, Jordan, let's attack right here. Let's get them in a situation where they're look and run, and let's throw the ball down the field. And again, I've seen some fans. I try not to like dunk on people. I try not to like jump into people's mentions unless they ask me a question, right? Like I always have to run it through the filter, Jacob, of did they ask my opinion? No, they didn't. Let me delete this then. Let me not hit send on that tweet. Nobody cares nobody asked me what I thought right there. I think if more people approached it that way too, Twitter, social media in general will be a lot better. But the person that tweeted out, they had responded to my tweet and said, if Jordan Love underthrew him bad right there to Tucker. And then when you look at the play, there's a safety beelining right towards Tucker. If he throws it 5 yards more down the field, guess what happens? Tucker has to catch the ball and then try to protect himself, and he gets tackled. He doesn't get the yak. Sometimes the better thing to do is to underthrow the player and underthrow the receiver, the tight end, whoever it may be, to allow them to get eye contact, eyes on the defender that's going to tackle them, and go ahead and turn it into a big gain. Now, was there balls that Jordan Love underthrew? Absolutely. Both of those to Matthew Golden, that was on Jordan Love, in my opinion. I don't know what the hell PFF's watching. Matthew Golden's PFF grade was like 50-something. And I'm like, how in the world did you watch Matthew Golden on Sunday? I watched every one of his snaps. I don't know how they watched that and was like, yeah, no, that was like, how do you even look at those two passes and say that was his fault is beyond me. But again, beyond the sticks, Jacob, Jordan Love playing lights out here, man.
Yeah, I agree. And, honestly, like you said, does he take shots? Yeah, he's the deep ball needs to get honed in a little bit. And like you said, with Matthew Golden, that connection needs a little bit of work. But the fact that I think it was maybe Doc or somebody that said earlier in the chat that if he connects with one that he overthrew on Tucker, if he connected with Golden on two of those plays, this guy would have almost 550 yards passing right now, have probably another 2 tuds. People will be talking about him as if he's, Pat Mahomes reincarnate kind of thing. It's just the fact that these metrics, when you're looking at him, he's doing exactly what he needs to do to put this team in the position to win. And that is all I can ask for him to do. I mean, it's as simple as that. Like we said earlier, he's a leader. I don't feel like that he's doing too much. Like every now and then I'm like, oh geez, Jordan, don't try to put that ball there. Like just come on. But I love that about him. I really do feel like that he is the perfect mixture of Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. He has equal benefits of both and equal, probably negatives of both, where sometimes it just seems like, I don't know, like his mind gets in front of him kind of thing. But, I'm very happy with the way that it seems like that he's progressed in his leadership and the way that he sees his progressions, the way he does his reads. I mean, I couldn't be more happy right now than where he's at this point in his career.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And if I had to pick which one is he more like, last year he was way more like Favre, right?
Yeah.
He was trying to force the ball, and listen, you want your quarterback to have confidence in their arm. You want him when it's intercepted or tipped at the line, you think, oh, what were you thinking? But when you thread the needle against a cover 2 defense while looking off the safety against Houston to Tucker Craft last year, you going, hell yeah, I want him throwing that ball, right? Because he's got the arm talent to do it. I think it's a great point, man, for sure. But again, this year, it's early. It's only 2 games, Jacob. It feels like he's leaning a little more toward Aaron this year. Like, hey, let's protect the football, and that's an exciting thing for sure. Shout out to Bradley Spears, who just became a member here on YouTube. Appreciate the support, buddy. We'll make sure we get you entered into any giveaways we do here, man. That's something, just an extra perk to anyone who's a member here on YouTube or a member of our Patreon group, patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. Just a way for us to give back to those who are supporting the channel out of my personal memorabilia stash here. Let's see. We got a couple comments. Bungie Cheddarbug says, I don't know why, but I love his rollout to the left and the crossbody 80-yard bomb to Romeo. It was incomplete, but damn, what a throw. Just throw it up and trust your man to either catch it or play D. Yeah, and that's the thing, too. Sometimes we get so caught up in he's not open, don't throw the ball, right? And we forget that, you know what, if it is a one-on-one situation, even though he's covered, your guy's you've got a better chance of something, the ball not being picked off, then it being picked off, as long as your receiver is on the same page with you. And he and Romeo Dobbs are definitely on the same page. There's no doubt. I would prefer a more safe approach. However, if you got a guy you trust and it's one-on-one situation, chuck that thing up there, man. Joseph in the chat says Love is seeing the field better than he ever has. I completely agree with that. White 009 says Kurt Warner said he loves how J Love throws the ball down deep, that he's playing big boy football, especially with how he can manipulate the safeties to keep his deep shots off. Or to get his deep shots off. The way that he looks the safeties off is really, really impressive for sure. Coach Lynn says switch concept out of 13 personnel was nasty. It really was, because again, why not do it, right, Coach? Tucker Kraft, I want to say he was in the nines with RAS. I know Musgrave was up there as well.
Yes.
These tight ends, man, they can move for sure. And Coach Lynn says also Love threw a C to read on the play he was hurt on. It was unbelievable throwing. It's too bad it got called back on the hold, but that's football, right? So some other stats here from the 33rd team, Jake, I want to get your take on. Both of Jordan Love's touchdowns and nearly half of his passing yards in week 2 came when Washington was blitzing. Love on 16 dropbacks versus a blitz on Thursday Night Football. He was 8 of 14 for 138 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, a 130.4 rating, 0.27 EPA per dropback, and 2 sacks taken. For the season, Love is now 16 of 23 for 266 yards and 3 touchdowns when the opponents blitz him. He's got a passer rating of 147.8. That sounds, Jacob, a lot like Aaron Rodgers the year they went on their Super Bowl run. It was just third downs, and when the other team decided to pressure, you made them pay.
Yeah, exactly. Another stat that I really love, Nick McSwain, I brought this up the other day. Love's average depth of target is like, I think it was more like 13 and a half or 14 and a half, something like that. And all the quarterbacks in the league up to this point right now are nowhere near that. They're all dinking and dunking. Jordan Love says, screw it. I got somebody open down the field. Let's go. Let's throw that ball. I really I love the way that he's progressed again as a quarterback, and the fact that he feels comfortable with our wide receiver crew, that he can make some, I want to say questionable plays, but some ballsy plays where he's like, I trust my team. I trust this offense. Right now, let's look at that. That's awesome to see right there. It's a really, really, I think people sleep on Jordan Love because of the fact that everybody thought that he was an afterthought. They thought when we drafted him that he'd be sitting behind Rodgers and that he was just going to be another guy that kind of came up. He has absolutely taken that pressure, that amount of media scrutiny, put it on his shoulders, and just like, he's so even keel with everything too, dude. Like, I've never watched the dude ever seem stressed in his whole life. It just seems like he does this like he's been doing it for 10 years plus now. And I feel like the Green Bay Packers organization is, again, just absolutely blessed to have another dude. For the last 30 years, we haven't worried about the quarterback position. That's such a crazy thing to think about. My whole life, I'm 38 years old. Yeah. I've never once in my life that I can remember ever worried about the quarterback position. I've only had heroes, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I remember my nephew. I'll never forget it. It was last year, the year before. When did we play the Vikings on New Year's Eve? Whatever year that was. It wasn't last year. The year before. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Jordan Love. It was Jordan Love's first year as a starter, I believe. So anyway, that's when he just lit the Vikings up, right? And Bo Melton went off in that game. And I looked over at Samuel, and he's a big Vikings fan, and he said, "It's not fair. It's not fair. Like, how do y'all keep doing this?" Absolutely. It is like the perfect thing that could be said. You know what I mean? The perfect.
It's like that meme from Breaking Bad. They can't keep getting away with this.
Yeah, exactly. So this was a graphic put out by FanDuel, and it says comparison Jordan Love versus Aaron Rodgers in the first 35 regular season starts. All right. So Aaron Rodgers has a pretty significant lead in total yards at 9,820. However, Jordan Love is sitting at 9,006. All right. Total touchdowns, Aaron was at 73. Jordan's at 69. Guys, that's just a 4 touchdown difference, right? Interceptions, Aaron was only at 23. Jordan was at 25. We're sitting here talking about you got to protect the football, and Jordan's a little careless with the football. Guys, you're just talking about a 2 interception difference between the first 35 starts between Aaron and Jordan. Passer rating, Aaron's was 98.1, Jordan Love's was 96.2, and then overall record, Aaron was 19-16. Jordan Love, as a starting quarterback, first 35 regular season starts, has a better winning percentage than Aaron Rodgers at 20-15. So again, some people look at this and go, okay, well, Aaron's better. Yeah, nobody's saying Aaron isn't better. But the fact that Jordan is in the ballpark, he's right there in the vicinity. I mean, he's to me, he's other than yards, Jacob, he is right there on pace with what Aaron was doing early. And that's a great sign when you're talking about arguably the greatest thrower of the football in the history of the league.
I completely agree. And if I had to push back at all about people saying like, the total yards, blah, 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 I'd argue that right now and for the last couple of years that Jordan Love has had a better run game. So they can rely more on a guy like Josh Jacobs, even Aaron Jones and his later years. And the fact that they kind of didn't want to put too much pressure on Jordan Love to take the game over. We can lean on that. And obviously this year, I mean, boy, the complementary defense that is being played is going to definitely help that help him pad those stats because, we've seen what happens when Green Bay has a shutdown defense. I mean, it's almost like written in the history books as to what will happen. It's almost foretold, So right now, if you look at those two stat comparisons, I think people would maybe be a little bit beyond belief that that's how close they are because so much hate has been thrown towards Jordan Love. It's the same type of hate that was thrown at Aaron Rodgers when he took over for Brett Favre. It's just, and I understand it, Green Bay Packers are loyal to a flaw almost to the point where we don't want to let go, even though it's past the point to let go. I mean, we've seen it so many times when we let certain individuals leave the Packers organization and the team is up or the fan base is up in arms. And then you look at what those guys do in their careers as they leave the Packers and I hate to say it, but they usually fall apart and they it's like that we saw the writing on the wall kind of thing. So once again, that stat comparison, you have to trust the front office. You have to trust Goody. You had to trust Ted Thompson. You had to trust these guys and understood we built this team. We drafted these guys. We groomed them. We brought them up knowing exactly when they would have their highs, and we knew exactly where they're going to have their falls. And that's when we decided to cut bait. And, it is what it is.
Yeah, and I think Brambo makes a great point here. He says, to be frank, I guess that's what he means, to be frank, Rodgers had zero defense them first 35 starts. Very true. But think of the targets that Aaron Rodgers had. Jordan Love, guys, listen, I like our receiving core. Don't take this the wrong way. But there's nobody on this team, in my opinion, so far at receiver that's performed like Greg Jennings did. Jordy Nelson, Donald Driver.
Randall Cobb.
James Jones is a good comp to me. Like, I feel like our receiving core is just the entire core is like James Jones level. And that doesn't mean they're bad. That's actually a compliment. That's a good thing. But we don't have that Jordy Nelson with that chemistry with Jordan yet, right? We don't have these guys that are going to put up those gaudy. I mean, Jordy Nelson was a dog, dude. And Donald Driver is what the all-time leading receiver in Green Bay Packers history. Yeah. Now, I know it was on the backside of his career, but at the same time, if you go to the number
forget one, about Tay.
Yeah, there you go, Devontae Adams, right? Like, if you go to at any point while Aaron was here and say that was the number one receiver, you're probably not going to be able to find somebody on this current roster that's equal to that. It's not that they're way behind them, but yeah, I think you make a great point, Bramble. I do. To be fair, is what he meant. Got you, man. I'm slow. You know how I am. But that's a great point you made about the defense, right? They could never kind of put it together. That's what it's bittersweet because if we had been this aggressive when Aaron was here on defense, you probably do have another ring or two. However, when you're modeling your roster, listen, I'm not saying it's right, wrong. I don't know how I feel about it. But as a GM, you look over and you see one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the game, you probably think we don't have to put as much around him. You know what I mean? You probably do kind of rest on your laurels a little bit. And maybe that's what we needed was to move on from Aaron and get to the point where it's okay. We got to build up other aspects of this roster to get ourselves in a situation to where we can, go to that next level we want to. Last thing here, Jacob, if you're wondering about the MVP odds, Jordan Love, don't take our word for it. Jordan's having a great year. Take the gambling community's word for it, right? When we started the season, you could
a very well-trusted community, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. Upstanding citizens.
Upstanding. Nice.
So this was a tweet from Barstool Gambling. All right. Now keep this in mind, guys. When we started the season, Jordan Love's odds to win MVP were plus 2,500. Okay. According to, the gambling community, Barstool Gambling says the only player with better MVP odds than Jordan Love are Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. They went from plus 2,500 to plus 700 MVP odds for Jordan Love. So again, does that mean he's the third best quarterback in the league? Not necessarily, but what it does mean is he's damn sure in the conversation, Jake. Any other thoughts on Jordan Love before we move on here, man?
Yeah, I mean that's actually pretty incredible. As a guy that loses money constantly betting on football, I'll tell you that's pretty impressive numbers there to absolutely to kind of shorten that gap, like you said, just there. And that's upper echelon, right? That's the top of the top. You talk about the top quarterbacks in the league, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. I've argued many times, I think we've all argued many times, that Jordan Love needs to have some respect put on his name. Lately, or I should say in the past, I would definitely hear the argument that he has too many mistakes. He does this and that too wrong. He does this and this footwork, blah, 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 right? But all of a sudden, it seems like something's clicking, and the powers that be, if you want to call them Vegas, if you want to call them whatever, they're noticing as well. The noticing is happening. People are understanding what's happening after these last 2 weeks. People say, oh, these guys are for real. Okay. Yep. And I love it, man. I personally love it.
Yeah. Coach Lynn makes a great point here too. He says, wait till we have Watson back. And we've got 12 personnel with Golden and Watson, with Kraft and Fitzpatrick or Musgrave. Pick your poison. Defenses will be in a huge bind. It's a great point. Get all that speed back on the field for sure. So there you go. Just a little Jordan Love update, MVP odds, all that good stuff. Guys, let us know in the comments what you think. Do you think Jordan Love is starting to approach that level of kind of where Aaron was in his young career? Do you think we're overreacting to that? Do you think Jordan has a legit, possibility of winning the MVP this year? Do you think he's got what it takes to get the Packers over the hump and get that Lombardi? Let us know in the comments, and make sure you smash like, subscribe, and click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live. All right, let's move along to defense, Jacob. This is going to be a fun one here, man. I combed through. I did a copyright check. I think we can play this video. Although I did, Jacob always go, oh, no. Every time you say that, Clayton, they ding the channel. This was a tweet that was put out by our boy Skip Bayless. All right. Now, you guys remember a little while back, Skip, this poor guy right here. We'll just throw this up on the screen just to play.
It's going to be so enjoying.
He was talking about Green Bay. You made a mistake. Micah Parsons doesn't give full effort. Micah Parsons is this. He's that, right? All negative about Micah Parsons now that he's not a Dallas Cowboy. All right. The tune has changed. It's a 15-minute long video. We're not going to play the whole thing. Obviously, we're just going to play a couple minutes. But let's just get a little glimpse of what Skip Bayless is going through. And this is what he tweeted out. As painful as this is for me to admit, to acknowledge, to honor, Micah was sensational last night. He's talking about the game against the Commanders. Here we go. You're going to hear some heavy breathing, by the way. That's
not me.
Yeah, exactly. People on the podcast are like, what is Jacob doing? Here we go.
I just put myself through watching every last snap of the Washington at Green Bay game, and I watched every second of the post game featuring our now ex-Dallas Cowboy, Micah Parsons. And as painful as this is for me to admit, to acknowledge, to honor, he was sensational tonight, even more sensational than he was Sunday against Detroit at Green Bay. Micah Parsons wrecked the game tonight.
Here's the guy.
Micah Parsons exploded off the line of scrimmage from all positions, left, right, middle. He exploded with quickness and speed and supreme athletic explosiveness in ways I didn't see him explode over the last 3 years for my Dallas Cowboys.
My back, dude.
And I'm left with this emotion. It's the last emotion I have left about Micah Parsons. what I saw Sunday and tonight was such a re-energized, reinvigorated, relaunched Micah Parsons, now in his, as he just said on the postgame, happy place, his happiest place.
Here's a guy.
11 from heaven in Dallas just went to heaven in Green Bay.
Oh, no.
Where he's now number one in Green Bay's hearts, minds, and souls. He is now one of one in Green Bay. And I'm asking, where the hell was that Micah Parsons over the last 3 years in Dallas? I told you, he wrecked games as a rookie before the league figured him out. And then what happened to him? Where did he go? Where did he hide? Where was that Micah Parsons playing for my team over the last 3 years, 3 long years?
Don't put that name in my mouth right there.
How many times did I have to file a missing Parsons report after games?
Oh, my God.
Featuring my Dallas Cowboys and 11 from hell. How many times did I sit back and say, Micah Parsons, he looked more like Jim Parsons, Big Bang's Jim Parsons, because there was no Big Bang from Micah Parsons. He looked no more physical than Jim Parsons looked.
Who the hell is Jim Parsons?
On Big Bang Theory.
Oh,
So what's my theory about what the hell happened to Micah Parsons? I don't know. Did he become just another semi-retired member of Granddaddy Jerry's country club that Jerry Jones owns and operates in Dallas, Texas?
You hurt me, Brett.
Was he counting his money after his rookie year? Was his agent saying, we're going to break the bank, man? You're going to make more money than any defensive player ever. You're going to make more money than any non-quarterback ever.
What are you talking about?
Did he just semi-retire in year 2, 3, and 4 as he waited, counting his money until finally Granddaddy Jerry said, man, he didn't play the run at all. He's a liability against the run. Somebody woke Jerry up. Steven, Will McClay, I don't know who it was. Somebody woke him up and said, Jerry, you're going to give him like a fourth of your salary cap, and we're getting blown off the field by the run. Remember those early games last year? I'm just going back 1 year.
You're getting blown off the field by the run because you're falling behind early. You're falling behind early because your offense isn't playing in unison with what you're trying to do schematically defensively, right? And just maybe, Jacob, Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones being so involved with the team is the true problem. And let me put it this way. You guys have heard me say this numerous times on this show. And I know I got a lot of these one-liners that I got from my daddy. But if everywhere you go, it smells like dog crap, you probably want to check your boot. So we're talking about, guys, do you understand? As Packer fans, we always refer to the dark days, right? The dark ages, where I wasn't a Packer fan around there. And listen, thank you to every Packer fan that hears my voice right now, that you carried that G, you carried that Green Bay flag during the 80s and the 70s when there was no reason hardly to carry it, right?
Wasteland.
Do you understand that the amount of time in between the Packers winning the Super Bowl in 96 all the way back to Lombardi's Packers and their dynasty, it's been longer in Dallas since they've won a Super Bowl than that span, right? And I say that because you hear Skip, he's trying to cope, right? He's trying to put it all together. Well, he wasn't doing this, he wasn't doing that. Was it really that? Like, if you're talking about since, let's just go back to the year 2000. Let's say the last 25 years. Since 2000, guys, Micah Parsons wasn't in the NFL back then. In 2010, Micah Parsons wasn't in the NFL. You understand what I'm saying? Like, At some point, you've got to acknowledge as a fan base and as an ownership, as a team, as an organization, that maybe we're doing something wrong here. Because it can't just always be someone else. It can't just always be, they fired Mike McCarthy. That's the stupidest thing they could have done. Mike had that team playing good given the circumstances with the circus that surrounded him in Dallas, right? So again, I didn't plan on including that aspect. Let me just throw this up here because the ultimate Dallas Cowboy hater right there. It had nothing to do with Micah. Again, when you model your roster, when you go to put together a roster, Jacob, you've got to prioritize something. And I know Packer fans, we get frustrated at times because, well, we feel like we're one player away here, one position away there. But as long as you've got a long-term game plan of what does the roster need to be modeled like, that game plan is real easy, guys. Top 2 priorities are head coach and quarterback, okay? You can have a great quarterback and not be a dynasty without a great head coach, okay? You can be a great head coach and not be a dynasty without a great quarterback. You got to get those 2 pieces in place first and foremost. And then from there, you build the rest of your roster out. On offense, it's quarterback and tackle. Now, in today's NFL, you really need 2 tackles because what they're doing is everybody was going franchise left tackle. That's most important. Well, now what teams are doing is they're putting their TJ Watts, they're putting their Max Crosbys, they're putting their Rashawn Garys over the right tackle because that's the weaker.
Micah Parsons.
Yeah. Now with Micah, you bring him in and you line him up over the left tackle. You know what I mean? And now they're forced to single block up. But the point is, that's the top priority, tackle and quarterback. On defense, it's 3-tech and edge defender. Jerry literally did this bass backwards. He signed his core. I personally thought they should have signed Dak. They overpaid for him, but they waited and waited and waited, and the money kept going up and going up. Much like it did on Green Bay. We could have got Jordan for much cheaper, but we drug our feet a little bit. Jared Goff got his contract, and then it upped for Jordan, right? So Jerry waited and waited. He signs Dak, overpays for him, but I still think you should sign Dak. I think Dak's a good quarterback. I really do.
Yeah.
But what did they prioritize next, Jacob? Wide receiver. They signed
CeeDee Lamb. Say CeeDee Lamb, but they did the same thing, stretching him out, making his contract larger and larger and larger. Sitting there, Jerry Jones, well, this is how I do business. It's like, you do crap business, bro. This ain't the oil fields no more.
And what he should have done was he should have prioritized Dak and Micah Parsons, and then if you can get a deal done with CD, great.
Yep.
Right? So now you guys are about to enter the dark ages. That's what's about to happen in Dallas for sure. So
and just real quick, what happened with CD? Cost you the game. 4 drops.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like,
dude went back to the press and said, I got to go back to working on my fundamentals. Bruh, you just got one of the biggest contracts in wide receiver history, and now you got to go back to fundamentals to know how to catch a ball?
Right.
All right.
And again, man, that's what you're risking. Like with CD, let me ask you guys this. Well, let me just say this. It's not really a question. It's just my opinion. I don't think teams come out and they go, oh, God, how are we going to defend CD? He might be a Tuesday player, right? Which means, hey, that's their best receiver. But they're paying him, and they treated – it's more about the prioritization of re-signing CD Lamb. They treated it like it was Terrell Owens or something. They treated it like in his prime. They treated it like this was prime Jerry Rice or something. No. I think if you'd have got these 2 pieces in place, Micah extended, Dak extended, then you could talk about CD, but there's still holes on that team. And again, this isn't a Cowboys podcast. I just wanted to kind of reiterate that's what I personally think Jerry and Stephen Jones did wrong, right? So with that being said, Micah Parsons, what has he done in his first 2 games as a Packer? PFF tweeted out 90.2 pass rush grade, 10 pressures, 1.5 sacks. This is the big number, guys. People see that 1.5 sacks and they're going, how does Gary have more sacks than Parsons? 25% pass rush win rate so far for Micah. Now, listen, that's a PFF stat, and I've been very vocal. And whether it's positive or negative for the Packers, I'm always going to be vocal. We don't have any tape to back that up. We don't have any timestamps to go, here's where all the pressures come from. Now, you can go over to, obviously, NFL Pro and get a look at the pressures and actually watch the pressures there. I haven't taken the time to figure out the actual pressure rate over there. Nonetheless, Micah Parsons' effect, Jacob, it's a real thing in Green Bay, Wisconsin, man.
I mean, yeah, it's an obvious thing. I would even argue that I think 10 pressures, I feel like that's almost a little weak. I feel like maybe he had more. I don't know what the NFL Pro has to say in conjunction to that, but I could not be more happy. If you would have told me 2-3 weeks ago that we're going to sign Micah Parsons. One, that was I wouldn't believe you. And two, that he's going to come in seemingly hurt, not having to have any type of football workouts, no training, nothing for the last like 4, 5, 6 months. He's going to come in, he's going to play just 40% of the snaps. He's going to be an absolute difference maker. He's going to get a sack in his first game by chasing down a quarterback, a mobile one, or not necessarily a mobile one, but one that was out of the pocket, so he had to show his wheels. Then he's going to come back in week 2, be a clear difference maker, play more snaps, have another sack, half sack against one of the most mobile quarterbacks in the league, absolutely set the tone. I would have told you you're absolutely insane. You're a crazy person. Go finger poop on the walls like you do, whatever. Like it's just, I don't know how to be more. I'm trying to push down my kind of confidence, my excitement, all that kind of stuff. He is him. I hate that phrase. I hate that term. I hate all the youths and all the stuff they say that makes me want to claw my eyes out. This guy is him, man. He is the dude. And it's not just the fact that, like you talked about, he is so amazing on what he does, but he frees up Rashawn Gary. I feel like if we were to put up some stats, Rashawn Gary's probably looking better stat-wise.
Oh, yes.
It's freeing him up. It's no more when you play the Green Bay Packers for the last 5 years, it's you chip Gary, you block Gary, you sift Gary, you do all these kind of things to isolate him. And we didn't have anybody else on the other side. Don't get me wrong. I love Preston Smith. I love Za'Darius. I love the guys that we used to have that kind of were the 1-2 punch. But I'm telling you, this guy's different, bro. He's different. And it makes our whole defense be able to fly with their asses on fire. And it's just fun to watch, man.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Romero Hill in the chat said, Poopy, he might not play the run as good as some, but he damn sure know how to rush the passer. What's crazy, Romero, is he's not bad against the run. He's actually an animal against the run, too. Yeah. It's just when you're asking a defender to rush aggressively upfield, they're going to run themselves out of plays, right? It's not that – let me put it this way. You notice his run defense, to me, it looks better in Green Bay than it did Dallas. Why? Because of how Jeff Hafley calls his game. It's like, guys, first and foremost, we're stopping the run. And that's exactly what's happened here in the first 2 games of the season for sure with Green Bay. Let's see here. Coach Lynn says, actually, he says, Jerry is paying the price for waiting so long on all those contracts. Amen. Amen. Once you identify whether a player is that guy or not, you better get him locked up. I'll give you an example here in a second. We'll try to hit on it as we wrap up the show. Jacob, don't let me forget Quay Walker. Don't let me forget that, okay? When we wrap up, I want to hit on that, okay? But, yeah, completely agree with that. Nick McSwain in the chat says 16 of the 23 past Super Bowl winners have top 10 defense. There you go. That's a great stat there, man, for sure. So, next-gen stats. Let's move away from PFF for a second. Continue to talk about Micah Parsons. Next-gen stats, you guys know I love NFL Pro because they back it up with the freaking tape. There's not just some – a phantom person in the background saying, trust me, bro, right? You can actually watch the snaps. They got the tabs linked to the individual snaps for said pressure, sack, whatever the stat is. Micah Parsons generated a team-high 8 pressures and a half sacks on 37 pass rushes, 21.6% in his second game with the Packers, okay? So, again, pressure rate, 21.6% is what they had. Now, notice PFF had pass rush win rate at like 25%. So, again, take it for what you will. 6 of Parsons' pressures came in the second half. Jacob, with the game on the line, bro, turn that dude loose, and he stepped up to the plate. So, now you mentioned Gary, right? So, let's go to NFL Pro real quick, and let's just kind of talk about what kind of season Gary's having, because you were spot on. He's actually having a better year than Micah right now. So, if we key in on the defensive stats here, okay, stops, all right? Again, stops are when a player makes a tackle on a play that ends as a negative play for the opposing team. Okay, so it's like, all right, who was responsible for that stop, for stopping that play? Edgerrin Cooper leads the way with 15 stops. Rashawn Gary is second with 9. So amongst defensive linemen, it's Rashawn Gary, and then the next closest defensive lineman is Lucas Van Ness with 6. All right.
Hey,
now
look at my boy Bullard in there, though. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Bullard with 8. Absolutely, man. It's huge. Look at Quay with 8 too, right? Which
Yeah.
linebackers are typically going to lead the way. That's why I'm specifying defensive line.
Yeah.
But again, you don't see Micah in there, do you guys? Right? Rashawn Gary is leading the team in sacks with 2.5. Okay. And he's leading the defensive lineman with 9 stops already. You see the hustle play there as well. Now, quarterback pressure percentage, here you go. 12.5% is where Gary's at right now. So he's down slightly from last year. Lucas Van Ness, 6.7%. The casual fan will look at that number and go, yeah, well, they're not getting pressure. They fluctuate back and forth from sacks to pressure. Whichever stat makes the player look bad, that's what they'll go with any given week. Now, with that being said, if you're not watching the tape and understanding what these guys are asked to do, then you're just going to go and read the box score. You're just going to read the spreadsheets. The people that speak about PFF and they act like it's just the gospel and they don't actually have tape to break it down. They don't have tape to back up how they're feeling or what those numbers show. I'm sorry, man. I'm just going to tune you out because you're blindly trusting a business, a website to give you accurate information without fact checking, without cross checking it with the tape. I can't buy into that. Now, if we go to quarterback pressure percentage here, hopefully it'll load up. And of course it glitched out like it does. That's the only bad thing about NFL Pro is sometimes that will happen. I want to see the quarterback pressure percentage and see exactly where Micah's at according to NFL Pro. Let me get this to load up here.
Yeah, while you're loading that, Chris the Casual N had a great comment. He said, personally, I'm impressed with Parsons' run defense, too. I was expecting a speed rusher only. Absolutely not the case. I completely agree with that. The fact that we have 2 games under the Green Bay Packers belt where they have yet, if you combine both the rushing yards, have not exceeded 100 yards rushing. I thought Micah was just a pass rusher, right? You're not going to have a guy out there on the field, and if he's just a pass rusher, then why haven't they had more games? And that's against 2 great rushing teams in the past year. Absolute top of the NFL in rushing.
Yep. And as RB2779 says, 8 sacks against 2 top 10 offenses last year is mad. Yeah, no doubt. So here it is, pressure percentage. All right. Evan Williams has got 100% pressure rate. He's only been asked to blitz once, right? And again, safeties and stack backers, you got to kind of throw them out because you're catching the offense off guard, right? Those numbers are always going to be significantly higher. As you see here with Edgerrin Cooper, 42.9% pressure rate, right? But looky here, Jacob. It's only 6 snaps. Baron Sorrell, 6 snaps. 33% pressure rate, though. Pretty
same,
cool.
Same. If you were to just look at that and say that that's the only stat, but that's consistent after what happened in preseason.
Yep, right.
Wasn't he the most quarterback pressures out of any rookie?
Quarterback hits, yes.
Quarterback hits. Like, bruh, I'm
better.
sorry.
Yeah.
It's something's happening there.
Because the pressure is typically through GPS tracking. If you get so close to the quarterback, they'll count that as a pressure. Okay, before the ball came out, they definitely pressured the quarterback. A hit means you actually legally got close enough to where you could lay hands on the cat, right? Quay Walker, you got a 25% pressure rate. Again, stack backer, it's going to be inflated. Micah Parsons, 18.6. So what you've got is Micah Parsons, 18.6 pressure rate. Again, you've seen the pressures he got in the second half. When you're leading like that and the team's down, they're forced to pass, you send Micah out there and go hunt, big dog. Now you don't have to worry about the run gap integrity, right? But with Gary playing on those rundowns, right? Gary played however many snaps there it was. I didn't see the exact snaps. He's not on the screen right now. Micah's now played 73 snaps, it looks like. But Gary's at like 12.5%. Watch how he's rushing the quarterback, guys. When he was asked to rush the quarterback, when we had the Lions pinned back deep in their own inside their 10, you seen Gary. He just dog walked the tackle. Decker, one of the best tackles in the game, just dog walked him right back into Goff, and he literally tackled Decker and Goff together. He walked the 320-pound, whatever he is, offensive lineman into the quarterback with one arm, a straight arm bull rush, and then wrapped up the quarterback with the other arm and took them both to the ground. It was absolutely awesome. So it's just a great compliment. That's the point. Gary and Parsons together. This is why when people were talking about trade 3 first-round picks and Rashawn Gary for Micah Parsons, imagine this scenario, guys. If the people in the sports media that were saying that and the fans that were getting in here and screaming as well, if they had went that route and you don't have Gary, you're going to be minus 2.5 sacks. And like we said with the run stops, if it'll load back up, let's see if it does. The non stops. You would be missing that along with 12.5% pressure rate. You're right back to square one. You're right back to just having Rashawn Gary on the team. You know what I mean? So again, this is I think we're going to look up at the end of the year, Jacob, and Rashawn Gary's probably going to have a 10-sack season. And Micah Parsons' pressure rate, if it hovers around that 20, anywhere from 20 to 25% for the most part all year long, this is going to be a top 5 defense. And if Jordan Love's protecting the football, that's why at the title, the thumbnail of this, is this the year? This is feeling like this could be the year, Jacob.
Dude, I'm generally like, I'm not even trying to be hyperbolic here. I saw a post somewhere on, maybe it was X or something like that, where at the given rate that they're doing right now, if you factor in the fact that Parsons has only played a certain amount of snaps, if he was a full-time starter kind of thing, him and Gary together on pace to get like 30 sacks between the two of them, I think it's a possibility. I really do think it's a possibility. And I think that the whole group in general could have an absolutely just shockingly high stat year. I wanted to ask a question, Chase Green asked a question. It says, Clayton, what coverages are we playing the most? Is it cover 3? I thought that I saw a stat that showed that Jeff Hafley was playing almost predominantly aggressively more zone defense than man. Is that what you see, or do you?
I usually wait until all the teams have played each week before I run the numbers and get these grabs. But I'll just kind of, what I do have is from week 1. Okay. So this is just week 1. This does not include what we ran against the Commanders, which I firmly believe we played way more zone than man in that game. I didn't see anything on the tape that was like, wow, we played a lot of man
so as well. Yeah.
So the Packers in week 1 ran 47% cover 3, 28% cover 2, or a variation of 12% cover 6, and they only played man coverage 9%.
All right, so that's what I was thinking. Okay.
Yeah. And again, we'll have the updated numbers here in a few days. So.
Yeah, no, I think some people in the chat kind of agree. I mean, that's just kind of what I remember seeing. Like, I'm not a great film guy, but I just remember seeing like they weren't chasing wide receivers. You know what I mean? Like they were very, very careful. And I think that led to why they kind of contained Jaden Daniels as well as they did.
Absolutely.
Because guys were not turning their backs to that guy and letting him just freaking have. And we saw it with Jordan Love. I mean, Jordan Love capitalized on many different plays like that, one specifically where he rolls out and just truck sticks Trey Amos in the freaking face because he's like, if you're going to give me that 10 yards, run, I'm going to take it. And not only am I going to take it, I'm not going to go out of bounds. I'm going to freaking hit stick you right in the next week. And I just so freaking excited about it.
Yeah. And again, man, it's what it comes down to is what are you trying to accomplish as a defense, right? You're trying to control explosives, and every week is a different game. Your game plan is going to be geared around the current opponent's strengths and weaknesses, right? How do you exploit their weaknesses? But more importantly, how do you control the explosives within the strengths of their offense? 9 times out of 10, man coverage is not the answer. It's just not. I'm telling you guys. I'll tell you who I would play man coverage against. I play 2-man under against. When we go to Pittsburgh, if you cannot reduce your ability or your strength in the run fit, which I think this team has shown they can stop the run pretty damn well, I would be okay with playing 2-man under on Aaron. We watched Aaron struggle with that throughout his career, and his legs are nowhere near what they used to be. So you don't have to worry about him running too much. Now, listen, when he sees the number plate on that jersey, the back of the jersey, he'll put it right by your ear hole, right? So you got to be aware of that and be able to plaster and recover really, really quick when he's let go of the ball. But those old guys are few and far between in terms of not being able to scramble. But yeah, that's why you were able to contain Jaden Daniels. That, and like we said, the scrape spots that you're seeing more of now, where you'll have guys mugging the line of scrimmage and you'll be showing like you're bringing 6. You'll drop an edge defender out. You'll crash the D tackles to one side or slant to one side inside, and then have a stack backer, whether it's Edrin Cooper or Quay Walker, what we call a scrape spy. They'll scrape blitz off of it with the intent of, I know he's going to be flush to his left, or if it's, vice versa, opposite side of the field, to his right. And as you come out of there off that scrape, it's not just let me get in the backfield as quick as possible. You're scrape blitzing, but you got eyes on the quarterback knowing if he's going to scramble either way, it's my job It's my responsibility to make sure he doesn't get past me. I'd rather him gain 3 to 5 yards than contain on me and get a huge gain because now something is turning to match on the backside, those type of things. But yeah, predominantly it's zone defense, and that could change. We might get in the back half of the year and go to man. But guys, understand, the people that were screaming Jeff Hafley's going to play. You remember this, Jacob? When we hired Jeff Hafley, finally we're going to play some aggressive press man.
I was
press
literally
man
was
like,
the buzzword.
I was like, you guys are just regurgitating what you're hearing other people say. Like, the way he played defense in college is going to be totally different than the NFL. Okay, so what did we have on Jeff Hafley in the NFL? Well, he came from the Pete Carroll tree. He came from the Robert Saleh tree, right? What did they do? They play cover 3. Many people thought that they were playing quarters coverage in San Francisco. They weren't. They were playing cover 3 match. And the reason it looked like quarters coverage is because the principles are very similar, with whichever conflict defender it is, it's covering the 3. If they go vert, then it becomes man coverage. All of a sudden, that looks like a quarters defense, and it's not. It was cover 3 zone match. So that's why it's important I don't have all the answers. I don't. Listen, I know this much about the game of football, but the people that speak for a living in that microphone on the large networks that like to pretend like they do understand, if they're not a former player, I'm telling you, man, they're misleading people, because I seen it all through Packers medias. It's going to be man cover. Remember, Jair's going to follow the number 1. I was going, these people don't know. They ain't got a clue what they're talking about. And again, nobody asked my opinion, so I'm not gonna call them out by name and roast them. Nobody cares what I think. But it's just like, boy, I remember tweeting about y'all gonna be real disappointed when we get about a quarter of the way through the season and realize, we're not playing man coverage. It's just it's unbelievable.
One of the things that I've learned from being a part of this podcast, Ryan's podcast, the network, is I can't remember which philosopher said it, but the quote is basically, the only thing I know for sure is I know nothing. And that's what I feel like the national media, like Holmes is saying, they should take a little dose of that. Like, just because somebody gave you a teleprompter or something like that says, hey, this is what it is. And like you said, unless you're a player, unless you're a coach, unless you've been in the league for a long time and you understand the concepts, what people are doing, you just kind of, and I'm guilty of it. I was a terrible fan most of my life. I'm an armchair quarterback sitting there. Oh, why do you do this over there? Why didn't you just tuck it? And
we've all been there. We've all been there, man.
It is, and you know what? I feel like you don't give yourself enough credit saying you know this much about football, bro. I mean, I'm not gonna fluff you here, but I'm just saying, I feel like Clayton could step onto the sidelines and actually call a game and understand the concepts and what's going on. I'd say 95 to 98% of Packers fan base couldn't do that. But football fan base, not just Packers. Just, I feel like we're all sitting here being like, well, I played Madden and I played cover 3 zone, whatever the case may be. Like you feel like you know something. Be humble. That's the whole point of this podcast. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but the whole point of this podcast has been, we're going to learn together, and
Absolutely.
We're going to all sit here together. And like, I'm learning. I learn every single day that I come on this podcast, most of the time from the chat, from you, from Tim,
Same
from
here.
Emilio. So it's really cool that's the kind of environment we've built here.
The game it's ever changing, dude. It's like, if you feel like, well, I'm so far behind, I won't be able to catch up. BS. I'm telling you. You can start right now, and by next year, you know as much as anybody else who's if you're truly studying the game. And I appreciate the compliment, Jacob, but I better know what I know, because I've spent a lot of time studying tape. I'm just telling you, if I haven't picked up on the little bit that I know, I'm an even bigger moron than I say I am all the time. So you invest that kind of time into something, you better understand it. You know what I mean? J. Cole says, understand Clayton is humble, but I learned a lot about reading coverage and how to attack them from this podcast. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate it. And again, guys, I just read books. I read, there's several different books I've got on Packers offense from like 2019, 2020 when LaFleur took over. I study those. People like to watch movies, Mandy, my wife refers to me as the stick in the mud. You know why? And instead of watching a movie, instead of watching Ferris Bueller's Day Off, I'm literally over here looking at new play diagrams going, didn't know that was called that. That's what I do, right? And that's why she's probably going to wisen up one day and find another.
Can I make a recommendation? If anybody in the chat, I'm telling you, like I said, I don't know my butt from my hand, basically, about football, other than just the basics. But if you want to read just one book that's a very, I wouldn't say an easy read, but a very manageable read, Keep Your Eye Off the Ball.
Oh,
it is so good. I got it right back here in my library right here. It was one of them that Clayton recommended to me, and it broke things down in a way where it just made sense. Like it took a step back and actually looked at it like in a 30,000 foot view, where you're like, okay, that's why organizations operate this certain way. This is why game plans are implemented. This is where certain schemes come from. This is where certain philosophies come from. It was a great book. I would argue probably one of the best football books I've ever read.
No, it's great, man. It was the one, I tell you guys, like I started studying the game back in 2009. It's the reason I started studying the game. There was a show on Sirius NFL Radio called The Afternoon Blitz. It was with Tim Ryan and Pat Kerwin. Tim Ryan was a former offensive lineman in the NFL. Pat Kerwin was a former football executive, I think a general manager for the Jets way back in the day. And the way they started talking about the game, I was like, this is really interesting. I didn't realize it was this deep, So I started studying. Pat Kerwin put that book out, Take Your Eye Off the Ball, and I was hooked. Absolutely hooked.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't hope I don't mispronounce it, but it's either Karan or Karen Forrest. He says, just checking in. Did anybody else saw Skip's video of Parsons? Rewind the video after this one stops, my friend, and we diagnosed that actual.
Go to about the 30-minute mark of this video, something around there, maybe the 25-minute mark, and enjoy the show. We add a little badazz to it there too. All right, a couple other things here, and we got to wrap up, man. We went way over. I said 40 minutes, and it's an hour. Funny how that always works. I thought this was cool, man. Jacob Morley put this out, and obviously it's a video by Miller Lite, rather. Jacob Morley said, "Can't believe we get to watch these two play together." Do we have a new Edgerrin Cooper celebration?
You see lasso?
Yeah, it looked like we got a lasso. Mike is doing his number one, being number one, obviously. Look at the I love it, bro.
Yo,
is that not awesome?
That's my new favorite celly for sure.
And as Jacob Morley says, can't believe we get to watch these two play together. Guys, I think it was Andrew Brandt quote tweeted Jacob Morley and said, and for a long time, something along those lines, right? These guys are going to be together for at least the next 3 years, possibly the next 5 years. And enjoy the show. So with that being said, I was always kind of under the or had the opinion, Jacob, it's the last thing we'll talk about here. I had the opinion of Quay's probably out the door, right? Because Edgerrin Cooper is the inside linebacker that you're going to pay, eventually. And is Tyron Hopper going to be better than Quay? Well, Quay seems to be taking a step. Now, PFF doesn't agree, but anyone who's watching the tape, they seem to think Quay looks more as comfortable as he has. I'm not as sold as most people. However, that's perfect timing there, Romero Hill. So don't forget about Quay, Clayton. To me, he looks way more comfortable. And the coaches made him a captain. That tells you, guys, they're not going to make a guy a captain that they don't plan on re-signing. It's just to go, okay, here's our captain. Nope, he don't mean anything to us. Get him out of here. That's a bad look with the locker room, right? Well, I'm not going to play the audio here. It's just about 19 seconds long. But Jason Wilde is reporting this at Hog NFL quoted Wilde and Tausch here and said, Jason Wilde says there is an offer on the table to pay Quay Walker. Now, people go, how do we know that's true? Let me give you guys some insight here. Who would leak that out? Would the Packers leak that out? Would the agent leak that out? In this case, I could see one or the other doing it, right? Because if the team leaks it out, right? If someone within the team leaked that information out, we got an offer on the table for Quay, that puts a little pressure on their camp, right? To sign the deal that they offered. But also, if Quay's camp spills the beans that, hey, there's an offer being made to us, it's going to make the Packers look a little bit worse if they decide not to sign him, if that makes sense. But nonetheless, it sounds like this is close. It sounds like it's really, really – I'm going to play the audio. We gave credit, right? It's Wilde and Tausch. You guys know who they are. One of my favorite podcasts. I listen to them pretty much daily, right? Let's throw this little silly body up for you guys, all right, as we play the audio.
Go
Yeah, it's actually not wide enough. So let's just go with some Brandon McManus. This is what Wilde and Tausch had to say about the potential extension for Quay Walker.
Who's going to be paid next?
Quay Walker's going to get paid next. There's an offer on the table already. I think they're still continuing those negotiations.
Tell me a little more. Is it close?
Yeah,
Come on,
I think it's
Scoop-de-doo.
close-ish.
Hey, Scoop-de-doo. I love it when it's Scoop-de-doo time.
Yeah.
I love Towster, man. He's awesome. So there you go. I want to get your all's take in the comments, guys. We're going to wrap up right there. Let us know what you think about the extension on Quay. Let us know what you think about what we talked about with Micah Parsons being a part of this defense. Let us know what your take on Skip Bayless and the circus that is the Dallas Cowboy fandom. But yeah, Jacob, you got anything else you want to add, man? What do you think on Quay there? Parting thoughts.
If you would have asked me last year or the year before, I would have said, no way, no how. I don't want to give this guy no more money. Like you said, I don't know if it's the combination of him with Edge, with Gary, with Parsons, with X, with Evan, with, insert Devontae Wyatt. Like, it just seems like that the vision that the Packers had with drafting, spending a lot of draft picks, a lot of number one draft picks, a lot of Georgia guys, a lot of these people that we thought, were going to be instant impacts. It's not necessarily how it works all the time, but you give it 2-3 years, all of a sudden these guys are coming into their own. They're opening up that window. It seems like this team is gelling together and they are playing complementary football. And I really do believe that I would much rather keep Quay than lose him. The money is going to be the issue for me. You guys know I'm a cheap son bitch. And if we can get him for Ross money, Marshall's money, cool. I just like right there, like what Christian Casual says, I just don't think Quay can be 15 mil per. I would not give him 15 mil per. I'd maybe go to 8 to 12 is what would be my range. But that being said, if Russ Ball can work some Russ Ball stuff and make it like a front end contract that maybe, a 4-year contract we can get out of in year 2 or year 3 kind of thing. Like you said, Edgerrin is so good that it's hard to not contain that talent. But with the two of them on the field, I'm liking what I see.
Yeah. And I think what Chris says here is spot on. And what you said, Jacob, that's probably why the deal isn't done yet. They're weighing out their options. It's going to come down to the guaranteed money, right? Because what Quay is thinking about now, let's say, like Chris says, I just don't think Quay can be 15 million per. I agree. Let's say the offer was 8 million per, right? So Quay's looking up going on the market, I can get 15 million per, right? But I do have to pack up all my stuff and move to another city that's probably got worse taxes or where, you know what I mean? You go to New York, you're screwed, right? California, you're screwed in terms of taxes. So he may be looking at it that way, but also what's the guaranteed money? So you could offer 8 million per and say, let's say 8 million per on a 4-year deal. Okay. So that's 32 million total, right? And then let's say the guaranteed money though, out of, whatever, 32 million, let's say 20 million is fully guaranteed. Well, if he gets 15 million per and it's only 15 million guaranteed, that's not really 20 million per, you know what I mean? Yeah. So that's what we call cash over cap. Like you can offer more cash to lower the cap number down, the overall contract value. And then of course, cash over cap is also in regards to you can spread those signing bonus, that guaranteed money out over the duration of the contract, however you want.
You know, what's crazy too, is like you said that, it just made my head spark. It's like, I feel like they should, every time you see the NFL Network or any sort of, social media coming out with like Micah Parsons, 148 million guaranteed, blah, blah, they should have another stat underneath that says state taxes and then the total after state taxes gets, because that's a big deal. Nobody talks about it really because, you don't want to get into that era or whatever, but it's like, if you go to New York, if you go to California, if you go to Illinois, they're going to take a substantial amount of that paycheck. So even though those guys sign the dotted line and think, hey, I just made $100 million, by the time that the old Uncle Sam gets a hold of you, you got 40 million, maybe 50 million, depending on what state you're in. So it's an interesting wrinkle that a lot of people don't think about. And I'm sure definitely factors into some people's motivations. So
yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. And listen, there's no doubt in my mind that I think Quay loves being in Green Bay. I mean, when he first came into town, what did he say? Anybody got a boat? I want to go fishing. Like that's the other thing about how good he's put this roster together. Like he's gone and got guys that are similar. I mean, Matthew Golden and Baron Sorrell went out fishing, right? As soon as they got, drafted by the Packers, they were back in Texas. But what did they do? They went out there. These guys, it's just, they fit the Green Bay fabric, right? And listen, I know there's some podcasters out there that the Packers fear that like to use terms over like flyover country. Oh my God. Like how the hell do you cover the Packers and then you take a shot at flyover? Green Bay is flyover country. the root of their fan base is blue collar people that are wearing their hunting orange out there on Sunday. And then somehow you're going to try to throw a politically leaning comment out there to say it's flyover country people. Shut the hell up. What are you even doing? Why try to find another term, another way to divide people, whether it's a fan base or just
say God's heartland. How about that?
Yeah, it's just it drives me crazy how people go out of their way to try to create division. And again, keep making money on your podcast off flyover country people, and then take your little shots on social media when you have too many damn boos in you. Drew D with the super chat said, "Happily Ever After was in the pregame for Thursday Night Football, and Amazon donated $25,000 to us. I love being in Green Bay." Amen, Drew. Amen, dude. Love the town, love the community, love the people. Love Brown County. I've had nothing but great experiences up there, and it's just so cool to see Packer fans. Like the way they handled everything this last game was phenomenal. Because it's everybody forget your damn differences for 2 seconds, and can we all just come together for a football game, take care of one another, try to keep each other safe, and go that route? Can we try that for a change?
Yep.
Anyway. That's how you end the show the way you didn't want to, but here we are. Appreciate everybody. Thank y'all so much. If you would, hit that like button, hit subscribe. If you're new here, click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live. Like tonight, we'll be going live at 6:30 p.m. Central Time for PTA Live, where we're going to break down the PFF grades. We're going to see how PFF's seen it, and we'll cross-check it, cross-reference it with NFL Pro, and then I'll be up late tonight, probably till 2 or 3 a.m., breaking down the tape. I've made one full pass through the All-22 copy, so I got to make my second and third pass through, and then I'll start put together chalk talk. I have a feeling we're going to have a lot. It's probably going to go long, probably about 20 plays, but I'm going to try to keep it to 10. Doubt it will happen. So
just real quick, because I want to highlight it. Drew D talked about the happily ever after pregame, blah, blah, blah. I should say blah, blah, blah. I don't mean to disregard. But Holmes asked, Drew, what is happily ever after? Drew says the animal rescue that I volunteer at near the stadium. That is so cool. Yeah. That makes me so proud to be a Packer fan. You guys have no idea. So
yeah, no, absolutely, man. It's what they do is amazing. And Drew, we need to partner up soon is what we need to do.
That would be great if we could do something. Yeah.
Yeah. We need to do that again. That was fun when we did that the first time. Hugh, Mr. Jazz in the chat said with the super chat, thank you, Mr. Jazz. He said, I couldn't help but thank Super Bowl after the first 2 drives against the Commanders. Such an exciting year. The Packer fan whiners and Matt LaFleur bashers have been silenced. Yeah, we haven't seen any more old mare burners in here in a while, have we? It's funny. He
Rock Howard, where you at, Rock?
Yeah, right. Well, listen, Rock may never show his face again, but let me tell you, buddy, we have him in spirit. He said the Packers were going to lose to the Lions 38-21. Then he doubled down and said the Commies were going to win by 10. He was wrong on both fronts. So there you go. Had me waking up like that morning. Like, where's Rock Howard? All right, guys. Appreciate y'all. Hit that like on the way out. We'll see y'all later this evening.
We got the bots coming in here.
Yeah,
nice.
That's how you know there's live football happening, Jake. It's about to kick off.
Let's go.
Yeah. Shout out to Bradley Spears becoming a member, Drew D with the super chat, and Mr. Jazz with the super chat as well. Yeah, we'll see y'all tonight. And again, guys, we'll do our giveaway on Sunday, okay? Sunday night show, we'll be giving away an autographed Lucas Van Ness rookie card. So again, just make sure you're either a member of our Patreon group, patreon.com/PackerFan Total Access, or if you're not familiar with Patreon, another way you can support the show is here as a member on YouTube. Everybody have a great day. Take care.
Here we go.
Nice.
Bye, guys.